Hey everyone, I'm Captain Felix, and today I want to talk about balancing in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I'm going to have the AI just fight itself while I'm talking, so if you guys want something to watch, you got something to watch, but it's not really relevant to what I'm going to be saying in any particular moment. This is a topic I've seen discussed a lot. Some people are upset that the game isn't competitively balanced. Others, however, prefer it not to be competitively balanced, instead wanting it to be like the Budokai Tenkaichi games of the mid-2000s. In those games, characters like Super Buu and Broly were stronger than characters like Hercule or Yamcha naturally. But the question is, which way should Sparking Zero be, and is there even a definitive answer? Well, actually, yeah, believe it or not, there is an objectively definitive answer to this question. But even if you don't agree with the way the game should be, you are still perfectly entitled to be upset or unhappy with the game. After all, you're the one spending your money and your time on and with the game. And if you spend any length of time on the game, you must reasonably enjoy it, right? But how is there an objectively definitive answer, and who's to say what it even is? Well, the who would be the developers, naturally. They gave us an answer to this months, maybe even over a year before the game came out. They themselves said that the characters in the game would scale with their power in the source material. In other words, the characters are not meant to be competitively, viably balanced. But if that really is the case, why did Yajirobe get nerfed? Furthermore, is it a good thing to have the characters be unbalanced at all despite the developer's intention, especially when you consider how many people aren't happy with that? Well, let's clear one thing up right now. What the devs meant when they said the game will be unbalanced is not what you might think. Characters are unbalanced as individuals, but teams in ranked multiplayer are balanced. Let me explain. In ranked, there are two modes to play: Solo and DP Battle. I'll get to Solo Battle in a minute, but first let's discuss DP Battle. DP Battle sees players create a team of up to 5 fighters to take online. However, each character is assigned a certain amount of destruction points, or DP, based on how strong they are. The stronger they are, the more points they're worth from 1 to 10. A team can't have more than 15 points in use. This means that if you pick a character like Beerus or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you've already spent 10 of your 15 allotted points, 2/3 of what you're allowed on a single character. Meanwhile, Krillin is worth only 3 points, leaving you with plenty of space for more characters compared to picking someone stronger. In short, teams are overall balanced even if the individuals on those teams are not balanced. But what about Solo Battle? And why did Yajirobe get nerfed if this is their stance? Let's talk about Yajirobe first, since that's a surprisingly easy question to answer. Yajirobe is one of the weaker characters in all of Dragon Ball. I mean, sure, compared to a normal human, he's insanely strong, but because of his power scaling in the source material, Yajirobe is worth only 2 DP. Despite this, Yajirobe was able to stall teams with a health lead thanks to his Senzu Beans until time ran out. His Senzu Bean skill was insanely strong, and on top of that he started with 2 out of the 5 skill points needed to use the move. It fully healed him, and he had an entire bar more of health than any other character worth 2 points. He was strong, too strong for the cost. Furthermore, this does not at all scale with his power from the anime or manga. If you don't believe he was that good, here's the proof. When tournaments were being held pre-patch, almost every player ran Yajirobe on their team with stalling in mind. They did so because it was the optimal way to win. Even in ranked DP, you'd frequently run into players using him for that very same reason. It wasn't fun for spectators to watch, nor was it fun to play against, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I did not enjoy playing against that character before he was nerfed. So the developers nerfed him for 2 reasons. One, it wasn't the type of imbalance they had intended, it didn't scale with Yajirobe's power in the source material, nor was it properly reflected in his DP cost. 2, it was literally making the game unfun to watch and play, hurting the game in a big way, so very logically and correctly, they nerfed him. You see, there's a difference between something being purposefully unbalanced and unbalanced without purpose. Yajirobe fell into the latter category, but after being nerfed, he's now in the former. It's still possible to use the character to stall, but it's much harder and no longer seems to be the optimal way to win. Considering all I've already said about the character, that's how it always should have been. Frankly, I don't think the devs realized just how good Yajirobe was when they released the game. And with that in mind, there's bound to be more stuff they missed, which means we could very well see more nerfs and possibly even buffs in the future. However, Sparking Zero is not Dragon Ball FighterZ. I wouldn't expect too many character balance changes, but it's certainly possible we'll see more for the sake of making the game more fun to play and watch alike. For example, double unblockable ultimates are in the game thanks to Insta-Spark skills and ultimates being, well, unblockable, or rather some ultimates being unblockable. These things may be nerfed, or they may not. Only time will tell. But what about Solo Battle? People have complained that you can't do anything really without playing one of the top tier characters in Solo Ranked. To that I say this, Solo is meant for 2 things. Either you're competing with top characters against top characters, or you're challenging yourself by playing weaker characters against stronger characters. It's meant to be that way. If you want a balanced experience, play DP Battle. Solo is not meant to be balanced in the same way at all. If you want to get to Z rank with TN in solo, you gotta earn that. Budokai Tenkaichi was meant to be both an arena fighter and a Dragon Ball simulator, and make no mistake, Sparking Zero is Budokai Tenkaichi 4. The old games were always called Sparking in Japan, which is why the game is called Sparking Zero, not Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Or at least one of the reasons anyway. It makes sense for the game to be this way, even if some people don't like it. As for me, I love that the game is like this. Yes, there's some cheesy stuff in the game, there's no doubt about that at all, but most of the cheesy stuff has a legitimate counterplay to use against it. UI Goku's instant tracking rush attack, use a vanishing attack at just the right moment and you'll instantly dodge and counter as Goku is swinging at thin air. You can also sidestep it if that's more your speed. After Image Strike, use Ki Blasts and throws to get around it until it runs out. Sure, I don't think After Image Strike should last the 15 seconds it currently does, considering how fast this game is, but you can play around it. Android's 19 and 20 lifesteal, listen, you know what they're going for. Just tech the throws and either zone them out or use appropriate ability skills and supers when they activate their super armor. Sure, the cheese can be hard to deal with at times, but most if not all of it can be dealt with. Just because you can't counterplay consistently doesn't mean you can't do it sometimes. Hell, I can't always counterplay correctly, and I'm the one telling you about it, but it is possible if you practice and lock in. So many people are wanting this game to be a balanced fighting game where all the characters are equally viable in a one-on-one matchup, and are upset that that isn't the case, but the developers made it clear before launch that this was not going to be that kind of game. Budokai Tenkaichi was never like that, so why would this game be? Remember, this is a franchise that is both an arena brawler and a Dragon Ball simulator. People are more than welcome to be upset if the game isn't what they wanted, and no one should put them down for their opinions or preferences, but we were told well in advance, so honestly, unless they were just ignoring the press for the game, there's no reason they should have expected anything different than what we got. And finally, there's a big point I need to get across here. There are people in the world that can only have fun with a game if they're winning. Honestly, these kind of people are simply not mature enough to play a game where losing at all is even a possibility. If you cannot have fun and lose at the same time, you absolutely should not be playing any game competitively. I love Sparking Zero. It's my personal game of the year. Yes, there are things I change about it, but at the end of the day, this is a return to Budokai Tenkaichi, and I'm so glad it exists. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, and I'll see you guys next time.